It's so sad. You actually see people. Sorry. So you may be coming from my video where I shared my experience working in Jamaica as a supervisor, manager at a job, and like how the pay was and the whole experience. I liked working in Jamaica, but you guys have to see the whole ups and downs and the whole story behind that on my channel. So if you haven't watched that video, you go watch it. Or if you're coming from that video, hi. Now, I also shared my experience growing up in a big family in the sense that I had 7 other siblings. We were 1 year apart, and how that experience was. And you guys really liked it because you guys felt like I opened up a little bit more and you guys got to know more about that side of me. Now, today in this video, I'm gonna share with you guys my experience going to school in Jamaica. And I'll just share the highlights of me going to school. So if you came from my video where I shared with you living with my siblings, so now we're at the part where we ended up living in Jamaica by 2002, around that time. We moved to Jamaica, and in Jamaica they had a house. So you guys see in my vlogs, you guys saw the house in Kingston on my vlogs, but you guys didn't know it was the house in Kingston because I didn't mention it. But you guys saw the house in Kingston on my vlogs. But we also have another house in country that I'm never ever going to probably tell you guys because I know how the internet is. Even though my mom was like, no, you can tell them and tell them the whole backstory. No. Certain things about our family I'm just not sharing. We have another house in country where we lived, and that house they probably built that in like 2000, 2001, 2002. We still have that house to this day right now. We grew up in that house. I can actually tell you guys growing up in Jamaica, like my teenage years too. Actually, I'm thinking of doing a video about that because like I would say those years, my preteen and teenage years were in Manchester, and that was a whole different story, and it was really, really fun. Like my life in Jamaica is just the best ever. Let me talk about now. Oh yeah, so that house that we have, it was in I would say like South St. Anne, borderline Clarendon, North Clarendon, whatever. So we had that house. So we ended up moving from Canada, moved to Jamaica, and we had our own house. Thank glory be to God, we moved right into our own house. And so that's when we got introduced to going to school. So I ended up going to primary school in Jamaica. So I spoke about in my vlog, my father's mother, which is my grandmother on my father's side, she really did teach us a lot about country roads, because when we went down to Jamaica, she taught us all these things. Don't take money from people. If you're gonna take money with your left hand. And she taught us how to cross country roads, as I explained with you guys in the other video. So where we are in country, the roads are windy, so it goes like this. That's how the roads them are. So we were taught like, okay, we're gonna walk in a straight line, and you're gonna walk. Once you get near to a corner, you're going to cross the road and walk on the side of the road that is broad. I realize a lot of parents are not teaching their kids how to walk on the road in Jamaica now, which is really weird, because in the 90s and the early 2000s, like parents were they taught children how to walk on country roads. Now, like when I'm in Jamaica, I'm like, how did your parents not teach you that once you reach around a corner, you're supposed to cross over to the wider side of the road so the cars can see you, because you will get hit by a car in Jamaica if you're walking on the side where the bend is. And I was talking about it with some people in Jamaica, and then there's some people who were saying, yeah, man, that's true. That's the way like you're supposed to walk. And then some people say, foolishness, that. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's why you're going to end up getting crippled by getting hit, because these people bust the corner really wide. Anyways, that's a whole different topic. So she taught us that, and that is like still a skill I use to this day. She taught us a lot of things. A lot of things. And then we got familiar with like people in the community and stuff, because she was obviously well known. She's been living there for a while, so she knows a lot of people. We ended up knowing a lot of people. And so she was teaching us how to walk to school. So with my household, it was the same thing again. In Jamaica, we had to walk to school. Now that I'm thinking about it, the walk from our house to our primary school was probably like a 15-minute walk. I'm not even joking. But back then, in that community, a lot of people used to walk to school in the morning, and they used to walk back home. I think like the first few times we got driven to school, because they had a car in Jamaica. Of course, if you have so many kids, you're gonna have to have your own vehicle. But then after, we had to walk every morning. It was okay. And then I have so much to talk about. Some of the friends that I went to primary school with now, they live in America. They don't even live in Jamaica anymore. And they migrated from such a young age too. For school now, we obviously had to get our uniforms. I was like, I asked my mom, like, do you have pictures of me going to school still? Because I would want to put that up on YouTube to show you guys the uniform we were wearing. I'm pretty sure, if I can remember, our uniforms were dark red. I may be wrong, I don't remember. Or maybe it was dark blue, I don't remember. So we used to walk to school every morning, and that was it. Whenever we used to walk home, we used to walk home in crowd, which was really good because a lot of the kids that lived in the same direction as us would come with us. And as we kept on walking, less and less kids. Less and less kids. I don't think it was a 15-minute walk, was it? Probably 15 minutes or less. And that's a thing that I tell people a lot. People have this like preconceived notion that like Jamaica's really bad. No. And I tell people all the time, yes, things may happen to people, don't get me wrong. However, I feel like it's not as bad as people make it seem. Like us as young kids in primary school, we're all walking to school in Jamaica in country. And that's the next thing. A lot of people look out for people in country too. So that's why when I share with you guys that when things happen to people, more than ever, they know of who killed them. They know of who attacked them. They know their attackers. And it's not like random stranger danger, people are going to attack you, because if something happens to one child, the whole community or even people are going to come down and try their best to find them. Walk to school every morning. Of course, when we went to school, we had devotion. This is in 2001. So the primary school that I went to, we still had pit toilets, but we're going to talk about that later on. I'm like getting out of myself. So yeah, we had devotion, and that's how I learned the national anthem. Every morning, we basically kept church. That's what it is. We kept church. They had morning announcements, and if anyone was getting punished or anything, sometimes the teacher would bring them up to the front of the whole school and like scold them in front of everybody. We had a female principal, and then that's all I could remember. I just know that my brother had to wear like something to cover his hair because he had hair, and my mom was like he doesn't want to cut his hair, we're not cutting his hair, and he still has his hair to this day. So they told him, okay, like since he does, like they just made it seem like he was under the same rules that people who are arrested had to do, which they had to cover their hair with like whatever it was, like a certain type of hat, right? Then look at something there. So as I said, I have all my siblings and I are all 1 year apart, so we were all in different classrooms. I remember that I was one of my sisters, me, a next sister, my brother, and then my other sister was across, and then like the smaller basic school classes was with one of my other sisters. That was like the dynamic there. And the thing that really stood out to me when I went to their class, like when I went to my school and I went into the classroom, was that like how the classrooms are separated by the chalkboard. It wasn't actually a full-on classroom by itself. So it was like they built the basic school as like one big huge, how would I call it? Like one big huge, do you know how warehouses are? They're like big huge warehouse. Yeah, it was like something like that, but they just separated classrooms or made classrooms. And it was those chalkboards that you can like move. Yeah, that's how the classrooms are separated. So we can literally hear everything that the next teacher was teaching in the next classroom, or if she was cussing somebody, blah, blah, blah. And one thing I realized in Jamaica, there's always a teacher or principal called Miss Brown. Like Brown is such a common last name. And I was just like thinking about it, I was like, your last name is Miss Brown too? It wasn't my teacher, but I was just like, huh? And she was young too. I remember when I was young, I was like, oh, this is a young, good looking teacher. Wasn't my teacher. My teacher was really nice. She was really up in age. She had gray hair and everything. I wonder if she's still living now. She was a very nice lady to me. Very, very, very nice lady. She was like round, dark skin with some gray hair, black hair. And honestly, and she was living good because like, I remember we used to walk past her house when we were leaving from school. And we had to pass her house to get to our house. And like, she lived in a nice house. So she was doing well for herself, and she was just old. So I don't even think she's still alive now, because if she was old then in like 2000, 2001, I don't know, maybe she's like 80 something now, could be. And that was it for the classroom dynamic. Now, when it comes to school, we never bought lunch. Well, I shouldn't say that. So we had lunch bags, far in Pitney. We had lunch bags, and in the lunch bags, we would have our lunch in it, our lunch and snacks. And that's what we would be given every day from Monday to Thursday to bring to school. So we never had canteen unless it was Fridays. Fridays were the only days that she would actually give us money to buy from the canteen. Only once a week she would give it to us. So yeah, she gave us lunch. So sometimes she would give us like bullet beef and bread as a sandwich, and then all these snacks, and then juice, and then a water and all that. some fruits she would give us in our lunch pail. And one thing that stood out to me was that, and I never felt left out because I was just like young. That's all I know. Like, I'm obviously going to trust like what my parents give me, and I work with it. When it was lunchtime, I would just sit around my desk and then I would just eat my snacks and I would be full. Sometimes I would have like snacks left over. But listen to this. One thing that really stood out to me was that there was this boy in my class, and he had a big scar in his head. Like, I don't even want to touch my head, but it was from like the top of his forehead to like the side near where his eyebrow is. It was a big dirty scar. And I used to see him and I used to just look at him. And he used to ask me for some of my lunch. So I felt bad. So I said, yeah, you can have some. So I gave him like some of my snacks and my juice boxes. And then I looked at his feet and I realized he didn't have any shoes on. And he used to come to school he didn't used to even come to school all the time. He used to come to school frequently, but not all the time. And then I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, is he poor because he didn't have no shoes? And then I saw the big scar in his head. So I said, what happened to him? Did someone beat him? And then he has a scar. Every lunchtime, I realized he used to ask me. One day I went home and I told my mom, I said, Mom, there's this boy in my class, blah, 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 blah. And she said, oh, all right. So my mom used to put like one extra juice box and then some other stuff. And then I went to school the next morning. He wasn't there. I went to the next school morning again. I still brought the same snacks. He wasn't there. So I said, oh, that's weird. Then he came back again. So it wasn't as frequent. And now that I'm older now, and I realize it's probably because the parents didn't really have money to send him to school. Because some of the parents, and he didn't even live far from the school. He lived farther than I did. But a lot of them don't send them to school if they don't have canteen money, which is so odd because like sometimes you can just pack snacks. But in Jamaica, at the same time, they feel like, depending on what school you go to and what type of group you hang out with, they feel like you're poor if you bring food to school instead of buying canteen box food. So anyways, we were in primary school. It doesn't matter. So, so whenever he came, I used to give him food and stuff, and he used to stay to himself quiet, but he used to always look at me whenever it was lunchtime and stuff. So I gave it to him, but that still sticks to me to this day. The funny thing is I saw him in the Spaldings area probably like over 13 years ago. I'm still friends with him to this day. And when we both saw each other, he was like, do you remember me? And I said, of course I remember you. He was like, we went to school together. And I said, yes, we were in the same class. And then I finally asked him what happened to the scar in his face. And he told me that his father chopped him in his face to this day. And he said to this day, he still doesn't get along with his father because his father treated him so bad. But he's so nice. He kind of has anger problems. You guys saw him in my vlogs, I think, actually. Because we actually live in the same community in Spaldings now. See, I told you, life is so weird. He told me the whole get-go, and he was telling me that like they were poor and that's why he didn't really come to school and all this type of stuff. But he kind of has anger problems. He has anger problems now, and it could be because of all the hurt and pain that he had throughout his life. He does like construction work. So like his body's like nice and everything, but I think he turned into like a vegan or a vegetarian or something along those lines. But it's good to know that I still stay connected. And there's a few people that I tried to stay connected with all these, but a lot of them migrated to America at a young age. So I lost contact with majority of them. All I can say is that most of my classmates were very nice and friendly. I met some girls that were very nice. The teacher was very nice. But let me tell you some stories now about school. So the first story, I have so many. The first story that I have is about one of these boys in my class. I wonder how he's doing in life right now because he was so effing bad. I had to say it like that because one time this boy, he was nice, like he was fine. Like everyone talked to him, everyone hung out with him. But one day at lunchtime, I just saw some kids running into my classroom that were in my class. Some of my classmates running back into the classroom at break. So that was lunchtime. And they were running. They're like, so-and-so is hitting people. Oh my God, run, run, run. I said, huh? What's going on? Me and my little self sitting at my desk, eating my snacks and my lunch and stuff. I said, huh? He's like, am I like people? I could tell him, mama. That's what the little kids are saying. And then because his mom used to work in the canteen, she used to make the food at lunchtime because there was 3 women at the canteen that used to cook. Big woman too, like really, really grown woman, probably in their 50s at the time or even in their late 40s. And then he came into the classroom like puffing and puffing. And I said, look what I'm looking. I'm saying, oh, what do that boy? Yeah. Because literally I'm drinking stop everything. I put my stuff down and I'm watching. He comes into the classroom. He's short, dark skinned and muscular at his small little age. He came in, he saw one of the girls, he just thumped her for no reason. He saw a next classmate, thump him for no reason. Saw a next girl, thump him. So I saw him coming over to me. I said, oh, hell no, he's not thumping me next. So then he was coming around me, and then I think like he came close to me, and I put up my hand to like block him, and I think he ended up hitting me like right here. Like it's literally his hand, like he like went to punch and it like went across, and then he left me and went somewhere else. So these girls in my class, sorry. So these girls in my classroom came near me. He said, "We are gonna tell him, mama, we are gonna tell him, mother, come." So the whole crowd of us went over to the canteen area. And then this one girl went up to his mom and said, started bawling and stuff like that. So-and-so licked me and him I go run. Him I lick everybody. And then she said, him lick you? And then the little boy was like, yeah, is him lick you? And she was asking the whole crowd. And then she turned to me. He said, him lick you? And I said, yes, miss. She calmed him, and when he went over to where the kitchen was, she gave him some licks in front of everybody. Like when I told you, I'm there peeking because like some of the kids ran. So I followed them, and then we went around the corner to peek. She started cussing him, and we're peeking like this. She gave him some licks. Oh my God. I said, God. Like me at my little young self, I was like, God. Then he came into the classroom crying, and then school class started again. And then we used to get homework a lot in school, and I'm not going to lie, we were in primary school, but the work was so difficult. I am not joking. It was so hard. Nothing beats the time we were learning about, it was social science, and we were learning about the family. So we learned about blended family, nuclear family, all this type of stuff, right? So sometimes the teacher would be in the mood where she was like, okay guys, we're gonna go sit underneath the tree and we're gonna do like social sciences outside. And so she was like, okay guys, like this week we're gonna focus on the families. And she was teaching us, and then she used to quiz us at the end of the class and be like, okay, what is a nuclear family, what is a blended family, blah 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 blah. And then she gave us a task. She was like, okay, guys, you're going to go home and bring in a picture of your family. And then you guys are going to show it in front of the class. And you guys are going to tell us what type of family do you have. Is this a single parent family? So I went home and I said, Mom, do we have a picture of our whole family? Me, Dad, blah, 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 blah. I went back to school. I think I may have had a picture because I ended up like showing. Oh, I did have a picture. I ended up showing the picture. And so we had class again outside underneath the tree. And oh my God, nothing beats this. We had class again outside the tree, and like everyone was getting it wrong. Everyone was like, oh, I have a single family. And even meanwhile, his father was in the picture with the mom, and it was him and like his siblings. And the teacher was getting frustrated, and she was like, go get me the stick off the tree. So she sent one of these girls. Honestly, guys, this girl that she sent to go pick up the stick from near the tree, she beats this girl in class a lot. I'm not even going to lie. Like sometimes I feel so bad for the girl because she gets some wicked licks. I don't even think that they're still beating kids now in 2026 at school, because I think parents would take it way too personal and probably fight the teachers. But back then it was a little bit normalized. I'll tell you guys what happened after. So she got this stick and I questioned the girl, and she hit the girl in her hand like 2 times. She went down the line. Everyone was starting to get nervous. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I think we all were getting it wrong because we were nervous and we didn't want to get beats too. So we ended up messing up. But I genuinely forgot the name of the family. And I was doing so good in class. But when it came to presenting and telling, like I literally I remember this day like it was no tomorrow. I just remember how it looks. She was sitting on a little like wooden stool, and then we were all standing up outside and we were just like listening to her. I think she brought the benches outside too. So it got to me now, and she was like, okay, nice. What kind of family you have? I was like, and then I said the wrong one. She's like, no, you're not. She's like, stick out your hand. And so I got hit. I swear to God, I probably can, I still feel the hits. When I tell the story, I literally still feel the hits in my hand. She hit me, and then she went back to the next girl. She beat the girl so bad in front of everybody. So I ended up going home and telling Mom that the teacher hit me because I didn't know what family it was. But now I know. To this day, I know all the family structures because it just was ingrained in my mind. And then my grandmother was like, what? So my grandmother and Mom, I remember, I think it was like the next day after school, my grandmother and my grandmother and stuff drove up to the school and went to the principal's office, started cussing. She went to my classroom and started cussing off the principal, and she was like so loud. She's like, I'm gonna want nobody touch me, pitting at him. Even though we're her grandchildren, but same difference. She started cussing, and then she put us all, my mom, like we all went into the car and we just drove off and stuff. And then the teachers never hit any of us ever again. but it was just a thing back then. So anyways, that was like a story time of getting beaten. And yeah, but I never hated her for it because I still liked my teacher. She was really nice. I don't think like when she hit us, I never saw it as maliciousness, her hating us or anything along, because she was never rude to us at all. It's just like when you got things wrong, you would get licks. But I don't know what she had with that one girl. She used to give her some that child was her child. The way that she used to beat that little girl. So speaking of that, people loved listen, if you meet a Jamaican and they're smart, best believe they are smart. Because when I went to school in Jamaica, then I ended up coming back to Canada, who got all the awards? This girl here. I was getting science award, social science award, every single award you can think about in the book that the school could give. And you know, and people's parents that used to come to the award ceremony was like, oh, do you guys think this is a little bit excessive and rigged? Why is she getting all the awards? And then the teachers were like, because her marks were the highest out of like everyone in the grade. Let me tell you guys something. In Jamaica, they teach you really well. I think it's the curriculum, but things I learned in grade 2 and grade 3 in Jamaica, things I learned in grade 2 in Jamaica, I was learning in grade 4 in Canada. So when I went to school and I went to grade 4 in Canada, I was just like, I saw the work. I was like, I already did this in Jamaica in grade 2. I already did this in grade 3. Why are they giving me? So I was like, fine. So there are Jamaicans out there that are super smart. Like the ones who are smart in Jamaica, they are smart. That's why you guys see some Jamaicans come to Canada and they just excel because they're like, this is nothing to them. The work in Jamaica is just hard. I don't know why it's so utterly that hard, but it's extremely hard. It is so hard. I don't know, but they're just really advanced in Jamaica when it comes to the curriculum. But I'm going to say it again. If you meet Jamaicans that are smart, they're actually really smart. And don't underestimate Jamaican people. And I say that all the time. Lunch was always given to us. We only got canteen on Fridays. And the money was always given to my older brother. Before we went into our classes, he used to give us the specific amount we're supposed to get to give to our teacher. So once we reached school, he would turn around, give us the amount that we're supposed to get each. And then we go give it to our teacher. And then we get canteen. And then when lunchtime comes, we go and pick up our canteen. Back then, we used to go to the kitchen and we had to line up, and then they will give us the food. I think it's a little bit different now, maybe, but that's what we had to do back then. Now, let me tell you guys something. The food tastes bad. It tastes bad. I don't know. The cooking was really bad. Like, it was 3 big women, and I would think they know how to run like a big, huge pot, cook a big, huge pot of rice, and know how to fry chicken really good, but it was not good. And we wouldn't mind the fried chicken. Sometimes the fried chicken was actually fried not too bad, but sometimes canteen food tastes really bad. I don't know. That's a whole different topic about the kitchen cooks. Anyways, my primary school, I'm going to say the name. It was Mount Moriah. Some Jamaican people say it's called Mount Maria, and they renovated so much. I showed you guys in a vlog. That was the primary school I went to. So now let me tell you another story. So when I was in primary school, right, there was these 2 fat girls. I'm pretty sure they were in grade 6. I'm gonna say how they were fat. Like, they were in grade 6, but they could have passed as like grade 8s or grade 9s. I'm not over exaggerating. They were really like developed for their age, and like they were big. And one thing that really stood out to me, I'm not joking, we had 3 breaks. 2, like, I'm pretty sure 2 small like breaks, like probably they were 15 minutes each, and then 1 lunch break. I'm not even joking. So the first break was probably at like 9 o'clock maybe, or 9 something in the 9th hour in the morning. And I'm not even joking, guys. Even to this day, I can still picture them standing up. On the first break, they always, I think they were friends. They weren't even sisters. They were friends, but they were both so fat and so short. And they used to go to this one lady. There was this one lady that used to fry chicken. And I guess she used to come early to start frying the chicken so the chicken could be ready for lunchtime. So the kids who wanted to buy extra food too used to come outside of the school gate and buy fried chicken from her. She specialized in fried chicken only. That's what that lady used to make. So every time when I'm outside playing recess and I would go near to like the front of the school, like near to like a certain spot at the front of the school, I used to always see the 2 girls there. I'm not even joking. For the whole time I used to go to school there every morning on the first break. Mind you, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. They were buying fried chicken from this lady. Every single morning. And me and my little young self, I said, why are they eating fried chicken for breakfast in the morning? And then in my head again, I was like, that's why they're so fat. Oh my God. I'm not joking. Every single morning. Then I used to think, I said, their parents must be really rich. This is what I used to think when I was young, because I'm like, how can you afford to buy fried chicken every single morning for 300 and how many days we go to school? Never missed a day. I think out of the whole time, I'm not even joking, that I was there, it was only one day they never bought from this lady. Once. And it's not like I wasn't watching them. You could just see it when you're playing every single morning. You can see them buying their chicken, and they used to yum yum bati kako. Like, they were just so developed for their age. Man, they were big. So I know that lady knew that every morning she used to have chicken ready for those two girls that used to buy from them every morning. Anyways, I remember back then there was a computer lab, and I think there was like only 3 computers back then. And only kids that were in grade 6, I think, could only get to use the computer lab, which was really cool. But it was fascinating because that portion was the only portion that was built out of concrete too. The school was not built out of concrete to that. I think it wasn't built out of concrete back then either, or I may be wrong. But I just remember the computer lab, and then they added the principal's office where the computer lab was too. So the principal got like a really nice office too. And it was fascinating. So that was that. I remember back then if you went to school in the early 2000s or the 90s, I think we used to have, it was on Tuesdays. I'm pretty sure, because my brother was the one who used to have to buy for us every Tuesday. So they used to come and like someone used to come and deliver to the school pink bag milk and then bulla. Like, we would always get money weekly just so we can have it every single week. But once it was time for that to happen, like Tuesdays come, and it was we used to get on the first break. Tuesday come, the first break comes, and then the milk and the bulla would come. My sisters and I would all go where our brother was. Our brother would pay for all of them, and then we would all get it from him. And then we used to have, and it was so good. Like, the pink milk was actually really good, and then the nice little bulla. And the bulla, now that I was thinking about it, the bulla was a little bit sweet back then. And we used to eat it. And that was a little fun memory that I used to like as well. That's a core memory, going to school in Jamaica. And so that was the next thing. I remember when we used to go to school, remember guys, early 2000s, we used to have pit toilet. And so we had to, whenever I need to use the bathroom, I used to have to leave the classroom, walk out, and then you had to go up we had to walk a little bit. Then there used to be, I don't want to call them portables, but they made pit toilets, but they were all, you had to walk into an area. How do I explain it? A portable, you had to walk into the portable. It was long and skinny, the building. And when you walked into it, they had like one side, they had one building for boys and one building for girls, but it was petite and small. And so you would walk in, and when you walk in, there was all individual stalls. But when you open up the stall, it was a pit toilet. So I used it, and that's what we had to use. And then we would have to come out of that little small building and then walk out. And then they had a communal space where you used to wash your hands. But the way it was set up, that you would have to push your foot down on something to pump the water, and then the water would come out. It was like a round something, like it was round. I'll try and put a picture on the screen how it used to look. And you just put your foot on it and wash your hands, and that was it. And I remember one day, this is how you know some of these kids, like, things happen to these kids when they were younger. I remember one time I used the bathroom. I will never forget. It was in the afternoon. It was probably around like 1 something. And I went to go use the bathroom. And I walked in there. There was someone using one of the stalls. And then it was me. And I was using it. And then someone barged into the bathroom and was like, "Oh no, come out! Oh no, come out! The lesbian come! The lesbian come!" And I was like, "What? The lesbian? Me look small. I don't know nothing about lesbianism or nothing like that, because I'm young. What do I know about that type of nastiness?" And then I was peeing, so I was hurrying up to pee, but I was like, "Oh my god! Like, they're rushing. Whoever this girl is rushing us to come out because the lesbian is coming. Shako rape no, oh no, come on! Shako touch up your tonton and look on your tonton." That's what she's bawling out. Remember, we're young, in grade 2, 3, and whatever. So I think she was in grade 5 or 6. She came barging in, and she was like looking in every stall to see who was in the stall. "Oh no, come on, come on!" So then the girl came to my stall, and as soon as I finished pulling up my shorts and then pulling down my dress, I looked up at her. She opened up, and she's like, "Oh, you are the foreign of no, your sister them." And then I just looked at her, and she was like blocking my entrance to come out of the pit toilet. Like, she literally just opened up. And so I was so nervous. When I heard her walking, I was pulling up. I said, "No one's looking at my tonton." And then I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want her looking at me and touching me up." Because I don't know nothing about this, but they were saying that the girl was going to touch me, and she's a girl. And I was never told that, like, girls are supposed to do stuff like that to you. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." she was trying to like block, she wasn't really blocking, but she was in the way. So I was like, okay, I gotta go. And I ran out. So I don't remember if she said something nasty to me too as well. She may have, I'm not even gonna joking. So I ran out and then I washed my hands and ran to my classroom. And I saw the girl who was warning everyone. It was someone from my classroom too. And then me and her went back to the classroom. But when I went on break, on my last break, I saw my cousin, because my cousin went to the same primary school as us. I saw her, and then I saw my sister, and I was telling her, and they were like, yeah, she's a lesbian. That's what my cousin and everybody, and you know, Jamaican people are, whoever was hearing around was saying the same thing. Yeah, she's a lesbian. She touches up girls, and she did this to this girl and did this. I was like, me and my young self, I said, oh my God, I'm staying away from her. And like, when I reflect and I look at back how the girl looked, she looked very masculine for her young age. But now that I'm thinking, I'm like, why in primary school do kids know about that type of stuff? And second of all, teachers should have been made aware, because maybe that little girl something was happening at home. Because why are you exposed, and why do you know such things at such young age in primary school? What? So we didn't really get like money all the time to buy stuff at lunch during like break. We usually got our snacks packed in our bag. So if we wanted something, I would just go in my bag, take out a cookies or whatever. Sometimes we would have money and we would walk to like the neighboring shops. I only did that because I used to see my older sister doing it. And so sometimes I would follow her to go see, but I knew we were gonna get in trouble because like we were coming off the property. But I only did it sometimes. But I didn't really have money like that to go and buy at the shop because we got everything. But if I do have some local change, I used to buy a stick sweetie here and there if I did have money. But yeah. So one time I followed one of my friends off campus during the lunch break. And she's like, okay, we're gonna go to this community and we're just gonna go and like follow this girl and see where she lives, because she's getting something from her house, so we can follow her because she lives close to the school. So I said, okay. So I ended up walking. We were walking up the hill. We cut through like a shortcut from the school, and then we ended up in a community and we were walking up the hill. And it was just me, this girl from my class, and like some other girl. So I was following behind them. I was way at the back. Well, I wasn't way at the back, but I was at the back. And we were walking, and then out of nowhere, some boy came that was from our school because he had a uniform on, but he was just walking with us. But he lived in the community because he knew the girl that we were following to the house. So he came, and then I looked at him, and he had bare feet on. He had no shoes on. He just had bare feet. So I was looking at him. I said, oh, he has bare feet, and he comes to school every day with no shoes on, but he has bare feet. Let me tell you guys something. In country, especially at certain parts in country, especially if you lived in like maybe a lower income area in country, but a lot of people didn't really have that much in country those times. It was a little bit normalized seeing people walk around in barefoot in the 90s and the early 2000s in Jamaica. It was only after a certain year, I remember, where it kind of started getting more stigmatized. Like people used to speak out and be like, no, stop wearing barefoot. You're poor, you're poor, you're poor. Like people used to actually, but before then, people knew those people were poor, but it wasn't as really like looked down upon, because I guess from people in the communities, because people kind of probably knew that they were poor, but like people didn't really make people feel bad for wearing bare feet back then. Because even then, at one point, I used to just do it because I used to see people do it, but little did I know they were probably just poor. But people never made them feel any type of way. Anyways, he was with us, and listen to the story. He was coming with us, and he was really nice. And we stopped at the lady's house. I remember when I was walking, I took off my glasses and pushed it in my pocket because I was like, I don't need my glasses to walk. I can see perfectly fine. Pushed it in my pocket. Then we went to the girl's house, and then we made it back to school before lunch was done. So it was just a quick little trip. And then I was sitting down in my class, and then it was time to do our work. And then I was like, let me put on my glasses. So I reached into my pocket. I didn't find my glasses. I was like, oh my God, I lost my glasses. So I was like, okay, I'll just look for it on the last break, the last 15-minute break. So I'm assuming it's 15 minutes. But I was like, okay, let me look around the classroom. So while I was in class, I was like looking around the classroom to see if it fell out in the classroom. I went to the bathroom, wasn't in the bathroom. I was looking around the school because sometimes like I'm running around, like we're playing and we're running. And I was like, no. So I was like, okay, maybe I can check like at a shop, because sometimes we go to this specific shop. Nothing. I couldn't find. I asked some of my friends to help me. Nothing. I said, Jesus Christ, I'm going to get beatings when I go home now because I lost the glasses. This is the only glasses. Jesus Christ. So then I went home and I was like, oh, I can't find my glasses. And then my mom was like, you lost your glasses? And I said, yes, I don't know where it is. It fell out my pocket. I had it in my pocket. And I said, oh my God, you lost your glasses. So my mom did this thing where the next morning she came up to school and she talked to the principal. She's like, hey, my daughter really needs her glasses. All right. So they made an agreement with the principal to do during morning devotions, to do an announcement to everyone in the school to let them know that a glasses is missing. They describe the glasses, and anyone who finds the glasses will get this amount of money. And I think it was like a good portion of money, because when everyone found out, they're like, oh, all the kids were like, oh, but I don't know, we're children. We probably think any type of money is good money. So everyone was like, okay, we're gonna go find the glasses. So a day went by, no one found the glasses. The next morning, I guess the principal called, and then my mom went to my school, and they found back my glasses. And guess who found my glasses? The same boy who didn't have any shoes on. So then when I found out that he found the glasses, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we went up into his community during lunchtime. So it fell out when we were walking up the hill, because back then in country, it wasn't really road. It was like, the road was kind of broke up. It was like mall and then big, huge stones. So a lot of country communities are like that to this day, which is very unfortunate. But people who are from country know exactly what I'm talking about. So it was like big, huge stones. So we were walking up the hill. So it probably fell out then, because yeah, we were just like walking fast. He found it. So when we went home and stuff, my mom was talking to us and telling us, she was like, she was telling us, she told us, she's like, yeah, a young boy found your glasses, and she described him. I said, oh, I know him. He and then I told her, I said, yeah, we came off her school compound to go follow this girl because she was getting something from her house. And he came with us. We just saw him because he knew the girl, and I was explaining it, and I didn't even get in trouble for leaving, because it's like they're not like that. So she was I'm getting off tangent. So she was like, yeah, he lives close to the school. She was telling me that, and then she was saying, yeah, but listen to this. She said how she went to the house to give the money to the mom or the dad, whoever the child was living with, and she told me, she's like, they're very poor. Like, she was like saying like they are extremely poor. So I think my mom ended up giving. That's how she is. I think she either said she ended up giving them more money than what she actually initially was going to give them, because she felt so bad. And I think she ended up giving them stuff too. I mean, I may be wrong based on my memory, but I'm pretty sure that's what she said. She's like, they are so poor. She didn't really like describe how like the living conditions, but she said when she went to their house and saw the living conditions, she was like, it's so poor. But listen to this. It actually gets so sad as a story. It's so sad. He found it, and then she said that she was actually happy that he was the one who found it, because like it's someone who actually needs the money. So I was like, okay, that's cool. That's good. So then, and I'm pretty sure he ended up getting shoes after. I don't know if she ended up paying for it. I don't know, but I'm glad that it was him. So it makes sense. And then when they obviously questioned him, they're like, how did you find the glasses? He was like, when I was walking home from school, the same day that they did the announcement, they were saying, he said that the same day he was walking home from school, he was actually searching really hard because he really wanted the money. And he said it was I knew exactly where it fell. When they explained it to me, I said, he's right. It actually exactly was right there. Was a little bit trouble for me to get up and walk. So it did fall out there, and it was in good condition and everything. So the same where it fell, that's where he found it. And listen to this. Unfortunately, he passed away, which is so sad. Guess what happened? I think like 3 years later or 4 years later, he ended up drowning down at river. He was older too. He was in an older grade. I'm pretty sure he was in my cousin and my brother's grade, because my cousin and my brother are the same age. I think he was in their grade. I may be wrong. And he ended up drowning down at river. During a lunch break, him and his friends went down to river to swim. And it's so like, because that same river he drowned in, my cousin, all of us used to swim in it all the time. Like I actually learned how to swim down in Jamaica, guys, down a river. We used to go to river every single day. I'm not even joking. Every day. So I know how to swim so good because of Jamaica. My cousin first started to teach me, and then after she was done like teaching me, I used to just practice all the time because we used to go down to river. And then I used to see my older siblings so good at swimming. So I was like, I need to be good too. Yeah, he died. So we found him, and then obviously my mom got the news, and my mom's like, oh my god, I feel bad, I'm the poor. Sorry. It is how she has a soft spot for people who are just like vulnerable. And she's like saying that how she's poor, and like she was just reliving. I guess like what she saw was so sad, because she was talking about it. She's like, oh my gosh, she couldn't believe. She's like, and then she felt bad because she's like, he had a hard life in general. Like he came from a super poor family, and like you pass away at such a young age too. Yeah, he ended up dying. 3 years later, his friends tried helping him because there's 3 of them down at River. His 2 friends them tried helping him. They threw in like their pants so he can hold on, and they were trying to drag him back up. Just died, and then he ended up dying. And it's so sad. Imagine having a hard life. And this is something that happens to a lot of people in Jamaica. They grow up having a hard life and they end up dying really young in life. And it's so sad because how you grow up poor, you're fighting and struggling your whole life, and then you end up dying. It's actually sad when you think about it. And I don't even like talking about it because I'll start crying on the vlog here, because when you're in Jamaica, when you're in Jamaica, it's actually sad. When you're in Jamaica, you actually see poverty. You actually see people, you actually see people poor and struggling in life. And it's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. Sometimes you see some conditions people are living in Jamaica, and you actually feel so bad. And that's why when I was in Jamaica, I know you guys saw me crying because I used to give people money, and it's not like, oh, people were just using. No, like sometimes you actually feel bad, so you give people money and you're like, 10,000 is nothing to me, 20, 30,000 is nothing to me. But sometimes people take set on you, and that's a whole different topic. But sometimes you see some conditions, how people are living, and you're just like, nah, like I can't be here living life and I'm happy and I'm flossing off money at dance, 50,000 and them something at a dance. And then there's people who are hungry, or people who need to just buy a few zinc to put up on their roof so water doesn't come into their house. Yes, I have to buy stuff for them. And there's things outside of social media that I do that I'm not going to come on social media and talk. If you meet people in person that know me, meet people in the Spaldings area that know me, you guys will just hear stuff like community-based things that I know, that I do. And that's why you guys see me with the MPs a lot and all that, because like there's stuff that I do, because man, if you want to know hard life, just live in Jamaica. There's not really that much social supports for the people of Jamaica, and the government doesn't really help. The government doesn't really help. So when you see people poor, people are poor. When people say they can't find job, they cannot find job in Jamaica. I'm telling you, it's not if or buts. And if they do get a job, there's so many things that come along with it. Sometimes their boss doesn't even pay them the full amount that they work. Sometimes the boss wants them to work all 12-hour shifts, and they're still making 15,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 for 2 weeks. You guys don't understand, but I talk more about the whole working conditions in Jamaica. It's actually sad. And when I talk about it on social media, some people want to try to cuss me off in class, and I was like, why would you guys accept this type of money? You guys have to speak out. But anyways, sorry, it's just like it's sad. When you go to Jamaica, you see stuff, and it's just like it's actually sad. It's actually sad. Anyways, he ended up dying and stuff, and I try not to think about it. I try not to think about a lot of stuff. Anyways, so my whole school experience in Jamaica was great. I was very smart because of Jamaica. My experience going to Jamaica was the best thing ever. I remember during break time, we used to run just for the fun of it. Me and my friends, I didn't even know what relay was, but my friends in Jamaica knew what relay was, and we used to just do relay for fun. Imagine, and we used to run with the boys. It wasn't only girls are all running together. No, me and the boys, them, and like my friends that were girls too, that used to hang out with boys too. We all used to do now they would call it co-ed, but we used to play and do co-ed teams. And then we used to just do relay, run around the school, relay. One time we were just doing it, and I guess a track coach came to talk to, I guess, one of the teachers there, and he saw us running, and he stopped every single one of us, and he was like, I want you guys to run again and let me see. He made all of us run, and then he picked out, he was like, you, to like my friend. She was really close to me. Well, she was one of the ones that, she was really like very article for a little young girl. But anyways, he picked out her and like 2 other boys and me. And he's like, you see you? And he pointed at me, he's like, you fuss, me need you. So like, I guess he was going to different schools, because I heard the principal saying to us like, oh, this is so-and-so, he does tracks. Like he coaches the fast people, and he's going to different schools, and he's picking out kids to do this and that. So I was supposed to go. So I think he went to go ask the teacher, and the teacher told him no, that like none of her students are gonna go into track and they need to focus on the school. So I think that's why he ended up going to the principal, because he was like, what? Why would you even say that? He went to the principal. The principal was saying that how I need permission from my mom. So I said, I told him, I was like, my mom's going to say yes, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, I went home and told my mom, and I said, look, my mom was like, yes, your father used to do trucks. And she was telling me, and she was saying she used to be fast. So she's like, of course you can do it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, running in Jamaica is just for fun. So when you see a lot of Jamaicans just like fast, it's just like something that Jamaicans used to do. We used to just run for fun. That's what it is. So funny, because when I ended up going back to Canada, I used to be so fast. I think it's because just like for fun and games, we used to just run for fun in Jamaica. We used to pretend we're racing each other and who's coming first, who's fast. And if we're running, whoever's the last person, them are this, them are that. So it used to be really, really fun. And then when I went up to Canada, I was like so super fast. When I was in Canada, I was breaking records. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll never forget when I broke the 200-meter record, and like they announced it for the whole entire like the track event to know in Canada. There was a lot of stuff that I used to do up here. Anyways, that transitioned to me. I was supposed to go to Edwin Allen for high school. Because I was doing track, so I was transitioning through the track route to go. So there's two options. I was going to board at Edwin Allen, or I was going to stay with my cousin's aunt. And so everything was planned. And then the last minute, my mom was like, oh, I can't leave my pitney in Jamaica and I'm in Canada, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't end up going. But I even was supposed to train with the Homewood track team during the summers before I went into Edwin Allen. So everything was set up. Like I was supposed to go into track, like real hardcore track and field. They even considered Homewood. But everyone was telling them, like, no, send her to Edwin Allen. Don't send her to Homewood. But she can train with the coach at Homewood because they have the field and everything at Homewood. She can still, like, do her exercise and keep up. You just pay them a certain amount of money. If you are from Manchester or you grew up in Manchester, there was this wave of when a lot of kids were like dying at Homewood, and people used to say this was just alleged, and this was the rumor that's going around in Manchester. If you're from North Manchester, you heard about, even if you're probably not from North Manchester, you probably heard of it in Manchester. But they were saying that the principal giant lodge, and he was using kids as sacrifices. So they were like, we don't want you to be one of the sacrifices. So they're like, just stick at Edwin Allen. You could do better at Edwin Allen. I would just work with the coaches at Homewood for specialized or certain one-off, or I can use their field, as I was telling you guys. But as I said, I can tell you guys some stories growing up in Manchester in my teenage years and in my preteen years. So fun. Living in Manchester is a whole experience. I love Manchester. I always tell people, if you want to move to Jamaica, move to Manchester. It's very, like, people there are not so bush. It's very developed, and there's like a culture there that's like really good. If you have children and you're watching this, send your kids to school for a bit. Even if it's basic school, you send them. Do it. Let them learn. Let them experience sports day. Let them have some Jamaican friends. Let them experience like Jamaica. It may not be the same for everyone, because not everyone had a nice life in Jamaica. But even if you didn't have a nice life, something in your mind still thinks about the good times at points. And that was it. So that is my overall experience going to school in Jamaica. It was fun. I did show you guys in a video an update of how the school was renovated. You guys have to find that video on my channel. You can search like old primary school or going to my primary school, something along those lines. It was in a vlog, and I was showing Nana the school that we used to go to when we were young. My niece Nana. And I tell people this all the time. Being Jamaican is a lived experience. After that, we ended up moving back to Canada. We used to be in Jamaica every single time there was no school. So as soon as summer break let out for us in Canada, we were in Jamaica for the whole entire summer. And that was religiously every single year until I graduated. As soon as I graduated, I graduated at 17, high school. And because my birthday is in September, so I graduated at 17 and I was in Jamaica. And that's where most of you guys saw my vlogs, where I was in Kingston a lot. I used to stay in Kingston a lot before I stayed in country. It's only when I like kind of blew up, I just stayed in country for a while. But Kingston was where it at. And I can tell you guys some stories of me growing up in Manchester in my teenage years. I can share with you guys my experiences living in Kingston. I'm pretty sure I showed you guys like all these. I can share you guys my experience of me selling. I used to sell. One time I did it just to experience it. I sold on the road. Like I pick up my little bathing suits that me and someone else. I had all these clothes for sale, bathing suits, and I used to sell in different cities, walk around and sell. And that is a whole experience that I can talk about. I may talk about it in a vlog, but I won't ever do it again. It's so much more harder than it looks. And there's politics, road politics when it comes to selling on the road and all this type of stuff. And then I used to sell too on Instagram in Kingston, and all the girly, well, it's mainly uptown people that used to buy from me because that's like really where I used to socialize and stuff. And like I used to sell, sell like shorts that I bought in Canada for like a super low cost. That's when like Orpheus Road and them used to run the place in Canada. I used to buy like some good quality. This one, Orpheus Road, was actually good quality shorts at a low. And then I used to bring them to Jamaica and sell them for like cheap. I used to have to go to Ardennes High School and sell. And I used to go to St. Andrew's High School. Yeah, the girls' school. I used to go to Immaculate and have to go meet the girls them to sell the shorts them too, because they used to DM me and tell them to meet them at their school. And I used to go and just sell it to them. This is like when living in Kingston was a whole experience. That's one I won't ever forget. It's nice living in Kingston too, but that's why I tell you guys, being a Jamaican is a lived experience. And I tell people all the time. There's this like thing where people are like, oh, if you're not born in Jamaica, you're not a Jamaican. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You guys can say that because you have all right. It makes sense. If you born in a country, you're that person. But what would you say about those Jamaicans that were born in Jamaica and they left at like 1 year old and they never came back to Jamaica again, and their parents don't care about Jamaica, so their parents don't teach them anything about Jamaica? Because we all met people like that. They don't know nothing about Jamaica. They never been to Jamaica. They don't care about Jamaica because their parents don't care to teach them about the culture, and their parents don't care about Jamaican culture. You guys would consider them more Jamaican than someone who grew up in Jamaica? That doesn't make any sense. You have to actually live in Jamaica and experience a lot of cultural things for you to understand about being Jamaica and being Jamaican, because it's just if I can live in this lifetime again, it would definitely be a Jamaican. Love it down. Best experience ever. But there's also people who weren't born in Jamaica, but they ended up moving to Jamaica. And we see that a lot, especially if you live in, we just see that a lot in Jamaica. It doesn't matter where you live in Jamaica. There's people from different races, different cultures, different countries that end up moving to Jamaica because their parents end up like opening up a business in Jamaica, or their parents get a really good paying job in Jamaica. They grow up in Jamaica, they catch the Jamaican accent. All when they don't have the Jamaican accent, they still grew up in Jamaica and had the whole lived Jamaican experience. So what do you guys think down below? I think it's a lived experience to be Jamaican. I met some Jamaican people born in Jamaica, raised a little bit, left Jamaica, and like they just say like they don't know nothing about Jamaica. They don't care either, and they have like a whole foreign accent, and they say, oh, I don't know how to chat back, so I don't have the accent. Or if they do, they just don't want to share it. And they say they don't care either. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This video is a little bit up and down, but that's like my whole experience living in, going to school in Jamaica. You guys can listen to my other experiences on my channel. Oh my God, this is like really, really random, but like where we have that house in Jamaica, we are surrounded by a lot of chocolate trees. And I used to eat chocolate till there's no till, because till this day, I'm still not sick and tired of chocolate then, and I won't be sick and tired of chocolate now. We used to eat chocolate like crazy. I remember the first time we got introduced to chocolate from the trees. My grandmother on my father's side showed it to us, and she chopped it and opened it, and she made all of us taste it, and we all fell in love with chocolate. And we used to eat chocolate every single day. I did sweet, I did nice. He's so good. So good. If you guys can ever try Jamaican chocolate straight from the tree, I would highly recommend it. If you haven't, you're missing out. So sweet and so good. Like till this day, if I have some, it's great. You wake up in the morning, you bathe in cold water before you go to school. Yes, we have to bathe in cold water every morning. We had our little tea. One thing I'm not gonna lie, every morning before we went to school in Jamaica, we had porridge for breakfast, but every single day it was a different type of porridge. So one morning it would be oats. The second one would be plantain. Maybe on Wednesday it would be cornmeal. Thursday would be hominy-con. Like it would be different every single day. And we would always have it with either crackers or bread. And then sometimes when we're getting ready in the morning, we'll have tea while we're getting ready. And then we'll go have our porridge. And then we all get together and walk to school. And that's it. It was the best time. And I talk about my childhood a lot because it's just like the best thing that has ever happened to us. And it's a memory that will never ever come out of my mind, because as I said to you guys, and I share it to you guys all the time, my parents are very Jamaican. We're just automatically going to be very interested in Jamaica as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That is my experience going to school in Jamaica. Yes, I had to wear a uniform. Yes, we had to do devotion. Yes, we had to sing the national anthem. We had to do all of it, and I don't regret it. No time, no dear, none at all. Anyways, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys. Oh, thanks so much, and you guys go watch those other videos if you haven't watched them. Me working in Jamaica, growing up with many siblings, and follow for more.